Who are the can't-miss recruits for Georgia in the 2026 cycle? That's what I got Rusty Manziel here to talk about. Now, Jeremy Johnson wrote this article up on Dogs HQ. I suggest you guys go check it out. But, Rusty, I wanted to run down some of these names with you, starting with quarterback Jared Curtis. Now, he's set to make his decision. It's going to be Oregon or it's going to be Georgia. Now, he's got Jared Curtis here as a can't miss, but let's just play a hypothetical. What if Georgia does miss on Jared Curtis? Who do you think they turn their attention to?
Well, I mean, I think you could say he's a can't miss because they're about a year and a half into this young man. I mean, they've recruited him and, that's well documented, but also there is the scenario of that. What if they don't get him? But here's the one thing I think I've learned, and I think watching Georgia with this, they have recruited multiple quarterbacks at this time. They continue to recruit other guys. Jared Curtis seems to be the full focus of this staff, but Mike Bobo went out and offered new guys in the spring. He went out on the road in January, went and watched guys throw, went to Texas, see Bo Bentley, Landon Duckworth out of Mississippi. I mean, there's a lot of guys that they've had on campus. Bo Bentley was on campus last week for multiple days. So Georgia has continued to recruit guys. I do think that they're going to wait and see what happens with Jared Curtis next month. But, we're going to all find out at the same time. But I will say, as opposed to kind of the path that Dylan Raiola was on, that path, Georgia has recruited multiple quarterbacks at the same time.
Yeah. So that being said, what do you think of Jared Curtis? Is he going to be a hit or a miss for Georgia?
I don't know, man. I felt like that it was Georgia, and then I think he took that visit to Oregon, and I felt like Oregon had a lot of momentum based off what I've heard, and Georgia had him for 4 days, and I think Georgia's had a little momentum coming off that visit. But again, he's going to wait. It's going to be about, is he going to be? He's scheduled to be in Athens next weekend for G-Day. I think after G-Day, I personally think, my opinion, Georgia's going to kind of know where this thing is heading. In that direction. That's another multi-day visit. He's coming back to Athens. We'll find out. I think Georgia will have a pretty good idea where they'd sit with Jared Curtis and his family after next weekend.
All right. Next up on this list, 5-star linebacker Tyler Atkinson. I mean, this is a no-brainer. He is a can't miss. He's the top-ranked player in the state of Georgia. Is his recruitment going to be more like Elijah Griffin or Justice Terry?
It's good. I don't know how you want to frame that. I'll say this: I've never seen a prospect that's going to wind up taking more visits ever to the University of Georgia. I mean, he's been there since the 7th grade. I mean, they offered him right at, I think, the beginning of his 8th grade year. He has a full marketing team around him. He has an agent. He just like all these other kids. So there's, if it's just for where he wants to be and just only, I think, location, I think that Georgia's a slam dunk. That's not all that's involved here. This young man's taking a lot of visits. He's ultra talented. He's a great kid on and off the field. This is going to be a group decision now for him. But listen, I can't think of a player, Josh, in all my years that has been on campus more than Tyler Atkinson. He goes over there sometimes and nobody even knows. Like, he'll go over there, and spend 45 minutes with Glenn Schumann just watching tape and watching practice, and it never gets reported. He never, I saw one of his coaches like 2 weeks ago. They're like, yeah, he was there for like 2 days. I was like, what? I didn't know that, so it's only like 35 minutes from his house, 40 minutes from his house. He goes over there all the time. So if you say can't miss, as much time as Georgia's got in Tyler Atkinson, I damn sure think he's a can't miss.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, let's move on to safety Tyriq Green. We know that safety is a major position in need for Georgia this cycle, and Green has been a target since his freshman year. So that being said, where do you think Georgia stands with Tyriq Green?
Can't miss. He'll be on campus. We expect him to be on campus tomorrow. I was told that Kirby Smart, this is one of his guys. You know what I mean? He recruit all these guys and all that, but you look at Kirby Smart and what he specializes in is DBs, safeties. He played that position. He's coached that position. Multiple schools. I was told Tyriq Green is a guy that he covets, a guy that he's heavily involved in recruitment, and we expect him on campus tomorrow for a practice.
You think he's going to come off the board this spring, summer? What are we looking at here?
I think he'll be off the board this summer for sure. I like where Georgia sits going into this. I do think Georgia's in a good spot with that. We'll see what all happens, but I can tell you right now, this is a major. If you want to say can't miss, I'll throw that on him because he's a major guy that Georgia really likes, his skill set and what he brings to the table. Size, speed, physicality, he checks boxes for them.
Speaking of a box checker, defensive lineman Earnest Rankins, he's got size, he's got athleticism.
Yeah.
He's one of those in-state defensive linemen that Georgia needs to hold on to this cycle. Who do you think the biggest competition comes from?
Really with him, it's funny, I talked to former Georgia Bulldog quarterback and Dallas Cowboy quarterback Quincy Carter. Quincy Carter from Southwest DeKalb High School, coaches, does some stuff at that school. I talked to him on Sunday about Earnest. And I said, hey, man, what's going on? He goes, look, dude, he's real quiet. I don't know where he's going to go because I know Georgia's on him really hard. I think he was in Georgia this past Saturday. And he's one of those kids that kind of popped up out of nowhere. It's a good thing he did because I wasn't real sure how deep the state is in 2026 as opposed to the defensive lineman. We knew about all the 2025 linemen 3 years ago, it seems like, but 2026 is starting to come up really deep. And I think Earnest Rankins, another one of those kids, 6'5", 280 pounds. Georgia don't lose many of those when they lock in. So people see where they at, but he's got some people around him, I think, that would probably approve of him going to Georgia.
All right, the last name on the can't miss list is running back Jay Lamar, and I get it. He's from Moultrie, Georgia. He's been a target for a long time. He's dynamic. He's got speed. But there's other names on the board. I mean, you got Savion Hyder. You got Derek Cooper. You got Xavier Crowell. The list goes on. There's more than that. So we know Jay Lamar, Georgia wants him. They probably got a spot for him. But where do you think he fits in amongst these other names that I just mentioned?
Well, all those guys I believe you did mention their takes. It's going to be who picks up that phone and calls Kirby and says, hey, I want that spot. Jay Lamar, I think Georgia was in the complete driver's seat. Well, he goes and spends a multi-day visit at Clemson, and they really blew him away on that visit, kind of made him think about playing up there, and Dabo Swinney did a really good job with him. So what does Georgia do? Georgia has him on campus Monday and Tuesday of this past week and had him again. Yeah. I don't think he's closer to a decision right now. I think he wants to take his visits, but this is shaping up to be a Georgia and Clemson battle down the end. I know Georgia really, really likes Jay Lamar. He had a great Under Armour camp, showed he could catch the ball, backed his tape up with speed. He did play a couple years, so he's got a lot of carries left in him still. This is the guy they really, really coveted on that. Savion Hyder, Derek Cooper was there last week. They got some guys. Georgia would love to get 2 of those 3 guys. They want to get 2 out of this class. There's about 4 or 5 they're really recruiting hard. But if Jay Lamar calls up Kirby Smart today and says, I'm committing, no question they would take him.
All right. Well, we just hit on some big names here with Rusty Mansell. Big boy decisions. Big boy decision. They're coming. That's the spring sets up is these big summer decisions.
I think a majority of these decisions will go down in the summer. Georgia fans, these are exciting times. Jump on board, hit subscribe, and also get in the comment section. Talk to Rusty and I. Who do you think is a true can't miss recruit for Georgia in 2026? Let us know.